Joining us now, former U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Kurt Volker. Great to see you this morning, Mr. Ambassador. So this all just happening really in the last 12 hours or so. Just want to get your initial reaction to hearing that the fighting for now would be ending.
Right. Well, first off, let's all be grateful that President Trump did not try to eliminate a civilization. I think he made the right call. We don't need to go down that road. We need to find a solution. Second, I'm very glad to see that it appears the Iranians have agreed to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. That's important for the global economy, for gasoline, for shipping, and so forth. What we have to see now, we have 2 weeks. Let's see if they actually implement this in a reasonable way.
Right.
President Trump seems to think that the current leaders in Iran will do so, but we'll have to see it.
So, Mr. Ambassador, as they begin negotiating this over the next 2 weeks, trying to get to a long-term peace, do you think there has to be some sort of a guarantee that that Iran won't attack people protesting and trying to take over their government? Because we've seen them; they're willing to put down the protests to keep this terrorist regime in power.
Right. Well, these are the differing the slippery slope of goals that we have. We started out talking about nuclear weapons, then we're talking about ballistic missiles, then we're talking about the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump never set out to go about regime change here. I personally believe that that is where we'll end up if this regime doesn't actually allow shipping to resume normally, because I think they want to hold everybody else hostage. But let's see how that plays out. But killing the protesters is terrible. It's something that we should be deeply concerned about. But I think a lot of Americans will be asking themselves, is it really worth it for us to set the goal of toppling that regime for the protesters' sake?
And we know that the president is set to welcome NATO Chief Mark Rutte to the White House today amid tensions with the U.S. and NATO over the Iran conflict. What should we expect to see today? What do you hope comes out of this meeting?
Well, the first thing I hope comes out is a statement from both that NATO remains a fundamental interest of the United States and of Europe, because it's all about defense of Europe, deterring future attacks against the United States and Europe. It's worked for 75 years and it will continue to work because no adversary would be crazy enough to attack us if they know there will be a solid response. That's what I'd really like to hear. Now, concerning Iran, which is not part of the North Atlantic area and not something anyone is committed to by treaty, I would like to see our allies step up and help more. And here, I think Mark Rutte, the Secretary General, can talk with President Trump and say, okay, you've done an amazing thing here. You've pushed back on the regime. You've got a ceasefire. Shipping is supposed to resume. What would be the military operation that would make that even more durable and successful? What should we be doing? And let's do this together. Our European allies will be ready to help if we can have a clear goal and a clear common operation.
All right. Great to have you with us, Mr. Ambassador Kurt Volker. Thank you.
Information. Truth. Is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.